This is my very first game review on this channel, and I plan to make a lot more, but I felt compelled to make this one because for the past few weeks, I've been playing a game that has scratched an itch I forgot existed. If, like me, you love MMORPGs, but you've been missing the social core that made them so good back in the old days, I might have something for you.
I've been looking forward to this.
So I've been playing Star Wars Galaxies, specifically on the Restoration server. And do you ever have that feeling where you get home from work and you need to log on to a game straight away? Like, you cannot wait to log on. That's what I've been having with this game. And it's weird because it launched in 2003. The game is ancient, it's full of jank, the graphics are terrible, and yet I can't pull myself away. So what I'd love to do is run through the good, the bad, and the ugly experiences I've had over the past few weeks to help you guys decide, could this be something that could scratch your itch if you've been missing the social experience of MMOs? Before I get into that, I need to give some important context, because this isn't technically the official live game anymore, which got shut down many years ago because the players all left the game after a controversial update by the developers. After that fact though, many private servers popped up, crafted by passionate players that just didn't want to see their favorite game die. Those are the private servers that you have the option to play today. And they include things like Emu, Legends, Restoration, and each of these private servers is different. And they're different because they're foundationally based on an era of the original game. Now, Restoration, which is the server I've been playing on, is built within the combat upgrade era of the game that was supposed to improve the combat mechanics and bring it in line with the MMOs of the time. But the guys that run the server are also constantly making their own little tweaks and introducing new events and content and things to keep the game fresh and exciting for players that join. So, with that context all out of the way, and knowing which server we're talking about, let me give you my experience. Firstly, the good. The level of flexibility and customization is amazing. I mean, this is a sandbox. You create your character and you literally start as a nobody in the galaxy. You can create from many of the Star Wars species we know and love. And yes, you can make a Wookiee, you can make a Celestin, you can make an Ithorian, you can make a Twi'lek. Like, if you're a Star Wars fan, you got loads of options here. Once you create your character, you enter the galaxy, there's a short tutorial, and then boom, you're in. You have not chosen a class. In World of Warcraft, you select, well, I'm a warrior or I'm a paladin. Not in Star Wars Galaxies. You're in the galaxy and you are a nobody. And it's a bit more like Skyrim in the sense that whatever you pick up and use, you gain experience in. And when you gain enough experience, you can spend skill points to level up in that thing. That means I get to choose how my character levels up, and I can make them completely unique compared to someone else's character. So there are a plethora of professions that you can skill up in, and you can master these professions, right? You could pick up a pistol and start gaining experience in pistols and become a master pistolier. And basically like Han Solo, right? Really fast, the quick draw and close range laser gun combat. Hand shot first. You could pick up a sword and become like a master berserker or a master fencer. What's more is you can put your skill points across multiple professions, right? So sure, maybe I'm the commando that flames things and does damage over time, but then as something runs in to attack me, maybe I've put some skills into Teräs Käsi, which is the Star Wars martial art. And so as they get close, I just beat them to death to finish them off. That's possible. The level of flexibility here is really cool. But on top of the level of customization, Star Wars Galaxies does something with professions that other MMOs just don't do. And this is something that really sets it apart and adds to that social experience that I was talking about earlier. And that is that you get non-combative professions that are just as meaningful and important as the combat ones. If I wanted to, I could create my character, get into the galaxy, and never pick up a weapon. Instead, I could just explore for the rarest resources and craft things using a crafting tool. And as I gain experience in crafting, I can specialize in, do I want to make weapons or armor? Do I want to make houses and furniture for people? I can also make droids and even ships that other players can purchase off me and use. And the thing is that if I became a master weaponsmith, I could become known, if I work hard enough, for being the best weaponsmith on the server. Combat players need crafters because they need the best weapons or the best armor or the best gear. And crafters need combat players because combat players can go out and loot the rare schematics and resources that crafters need to make the best gear. What you get from this is a player-driven economy where players need each other and they are incentivized to interact with each other and build things together. This is really cool, and you just get the sense of this throughout the entire game. So you also get healing professions. So for example, you get doctor, and doctors will hang out in the medic center, and you have to go to a doctor to get your wounds healed so that you have full health when you go out for your next battle. There are professions where you can master entertaining other players. So you could become a master musician and be like the Cantina band in A New Hope. And yes, in Mos Eisley, there are a bunch of players that constantly fill the cantina, and they're going in there to go and watch the musicians and the dancers performing. And the reason they do this is because by watching or listening to players for a little bit, you increase your rested XP up to a cap, which means that you get more experience when you go out and level. So not only do we have a system where you get to create a completely unique character, all the professions need each other in some way, or they benefit each other in some way. And so players are incentivized to reach out together, to craft, to create a great player-driven economy, and to group up together. There's this thing called spin groups in Star Wars Galaxies, and I joined a few, and it was fun. Basically, you have a cap of 2 missions that you can select at one time to make some credits, and players will group up, and the bigger group you have, the more money you can make on missions and the more XP you're going to get. So players group up, and they go in a circle doing all these missions together and earning all these credits. You can do this solo, so if you're a solo player and that's your thing, you can do that. But you are incentivized to group up with other players. And again, this is what I've been missing in modern MMOs. All of this is built within the lore and backdrop of the Galactic Civil War in Star Wars. So if you're a Star Wars fan, added bonus, because yes, you get to go meet Darth Vader, you can go meet Luke Skywalker, you can go do missions for Princess Leia. But something that's important here is that they aren't huge roles in the game. You can go meet them and do missions for them, but the whole point of this game is that you are a citizen in the galaxy, and it's about your path and what you choose to do. So you can go and do missions for the Rebel Alliance and become a rebel and fight against the Empire. Or you can join the Empire and fight for Order and go do missions for Darth Vader and become a stormtrooper. Or you can just stay neutral and not get involved in the war. Or become a bounty hunter and fight for Jabba the Hutt. These are all possible paths that you can take as a character. All of this compounds into an immersive experience where you feel like you're living in Star Wars. You can buy a house, place it down in Tatooine next to someone else's house, and build a little town together on Tatooine. Hell, you can build a city hall, become the mayor of that town, and get more players living there, get crafters to put their shops there so the city becomes more attractive for people to visit, and level up the city over time. And the mayor, who's a real player, can place decorations and make the city look gorgeous. The level of sandbox flexibility in this game is insane. And just like every other MMO, you have guilds. Groups of people that come together to achieve something together. So you could place a guild hall, create a guild that's specialized in crafting. You invite a load of crafters there, and they all place their vendors in the hall, and suddenly you have a shopping mall that players can visit with all sorts of things that they can buy. Or maybe your guild is helping the Empire in the Galactic Civil War, and you're full of combatants that go and fight in the PvP events. And yes, there is a Galactic Civil War that's active and ongoing. The guys that run the Restoration server have updated the Galactic Civil War mechanic to basically have lasting impact visually in the game. So I remember as I was playing over the past couple of weeks, I got into a city where the Empire were invading it because the rebels had taken it over. And there's just a bunch of stormtroopers running around along with Empire players that are taking out all the rebel players. And once the city had been taken over, stormtroopers and things then appeared in the city to start guarding it. So if you're a rebel, you might get attacked by these stormtroopers from now on in this city until the rebels take over the city again. That means you can band together with other players to fight for the rebels or the Empire, and your actions collectively will have lasting visual impact for other players in the game. And as I've been running around the past few weeks, I've seen the world change, I've seen players role-playing, I've seen players helping each other out, and this is just really cool, and the thing I've been missing. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Jedi, because this is a Star Wars game after all, and yes, you can unlock becoming a Jedi, or Dark Jedi if that's what you prefer.
Do it.
But the guys who run the Restoration server have made it so that Jedi is an extremely difficult thing to unlock. And basically the way it works is that when you create your character, there will be some hidden objectives created that you won't know about, that you have to complete for your character to realize that they are Force sensitive and be able to go on this journey to become a Jedi. And the way you complete those objectives is just by engaging with lots of different things in the game. So you'll need to go exploring across all the planets. You'll need to maybe find some hidden artifacts somewhere that are really difficult to loot. And the estimation from what I've read online is that it can take a few weeks to even months to unlock Force sensitivity on your character. Some players will really hate that, but I personally love it, and there's two big reasons why. One is, I remember being in World of Warcraft for the first time, in Elwyn Forest, in my rags, and I remember seeing a guy that was like max level in all the best armor. He had the glowing pauldrons, and I was like, wow. I want to be that guy. I would know that it would be a long grind and it would be a long journey to reach that level, but it gave me something to aspire to become. Now, as a Jedi, you're obviously going to be quite powerful in the game. That's why it's so difficult to unlock. And that's important because I want something to aspire to. If everyone was a powerful Jedi running around, it would demystify it and it wouldn't make it as special. The other reason is that in Star Wars lore, Jedi are rare. I mean, they're actually in hiding at this point in time from Darth Vader. They're being hunted. So it wouldn't make sense to see Jedi all over the place, like some kind of glow stick rave party. So since I've started playing, I have seen a few player Jedi, and when you see them, you're like, oh, that dude's got a lightsaber, that's so cool. Or they're using force powers, that's so cool. But they are rare. And the reason they're rare isn't just because it takes a long time to unlock Jedi. It's because if they get their lightsaber out or use force powers in front of other players have an option to report them to the Empire. And if they do, they'll start appearing on bounty boards for other bounty hunter players to hunt them down. Not only is this lore accurate, this is such a fun mechanic because it adheres to Star Wars lore, and it makes Jedi feel like this really special thing that if you are going to get your lightsaber out, well, it better be a dire circumstance and you better mean it. It's kind of like old Ben Kenobi getting his lightsaber out in the cantina and everyone's like, report them to the fucking stormtroopers. So this won't be for everyone, but personally, I love the way this feels, and I can't wait till I unlock Jedi in about 2 years. So not everyone will like this, but the whole point of the game is being a citizen in the Star Wars galaxy. If everyone was a Jedi, well, you're not just a standard citizen anymore. Anyway, that is all the positives that I've had over the past few weeks, but there are also some negatives. So I'll just say right off the bat, the game is janky as hell, right? The graphics are terrible. It's an old game. The animations are clunky. The combat feels slow and weird. Some of the graphic settings and other things that I set in the game sometimes reset every time I restart the game again. I don't know if that's just me, but it's kind of annoying. But I had to do a lot of graphics tweaks and changes before I could get the game looking semi-okay. If you're the kind of player that likes the faster paced, smoother gameplay of modern MMOs, this probably isn't going to do it for you. I spent a long time key mapping my controls to make them feel a lot better, but especially when you go to space, the controls are abysmal. Oh, but by the way, you can go to space. I forgot to mention this. You can get a spaceship, go into space, shoot down enemy spaceships. That's a thing you can do. It's fun, but the controls feel terrible. I also get a lot of bugs where, if I'm entering a cave or entering a house or whatever, sometimes it's not like loading properly and it just shoots me outside of the cave again. And anyway, it's a bug. There's a few bugs in this game. Another criticism I have of the game is that it is a grind. This is one of those games where you kind of come home, log in, and you just chill, right? You're going to slowly do a mission or two. Don't expect any fast rewards because things take a long time, especially like crafting professions can take a really long time and they can feel really tedious sometimes. Finally, by far the greatest criticism I have of the game is that you really do need to go and look at guides that are online to get through a lot of the content in this game, because the game doesn't really give you as much information as you need to intuitively work certain things out. Now, many quests do give you information, like clues that you can use to figure out what's next and where to go, but a lot of them just aren't clear enough. and you're kind of left like thinking, well, what planet do I go to? Or even if you know what planet to go to, you don't know where to go on the planet, and the planets are huge. So it's like, well, okay, I guess I'll just look up another guide and follow that. Otherwise, I'll be here for weeks just doing this one quest. In general, I'm not a big fan of when games require you to go to other sources to know what's going on. Like, you should be able to figure out what's going on intuitively within the game. So the game does have its flaws, but nevertheless, I still feel myself drawn back into the game for the social experience that I've been missing in MMOs recently. And by the way, I haven't even mentioned heroics and raids and things like that. There is endgame content here as well, but I haven't got to that yet in the past few weeks, so I can't really comment on that stuff. There are complexities to the game that I'm still learning. I've just joined a guild and I'm hoping to do some dungeons in the future to get the whole endgame experience. But so far, all I can say is for the past few weeks, this has been a really immersive, really engaging, fun game to play. And I'll be playing a lot more. So if after all of that, you've been convinced you would love to try the game, I have a referral link down below which will grant you a hover chair mount so you can get on the Jedi Council before Anakin did.
What?
And you can get 500,000 credits after playing 10 hours in the game. And believe me, those go quick, so they are really helpful to have. If you found this video useful and you'd love to see more like this in the future, don't forget to like and subscribe because it will really help the channel out going forward. Drop a comment below if you play Star Wars Galaxies or if you play on a different server and you think that that one deserves a recommendation too. It's really nice when all of us can help each other out with this stuff. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you all in the next one.